Hi, I'm CJ Elmerick with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We've got a brand new 2025 Cimarron Lonestar trailer sitting behind me here. This one here is kind of a hybrid. So this is a great trailer for farm and ranch use. If you've got some show cattle you want to take somewhere, you can. We ended up building this one a little bit tall, so if you wanted to throw some horses in this guy, it's not your standard low profile setup as far as a lot of these trailers we have in inventory. So if you're looking for something that kind of covers all the bases, we built this one specifically for that. So before we start walking you through this trailer, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing. I'll show you how the trailer lays out. So we're 28 foot on the floor on this guy. We have a 6 foot front tack room. Then from there, we're 8 foot wide and we're 7'1" tall. So that's our standard horse trailer height. Typically we'll build these, 6'4", 6'8". That lower profile setup for this one here is going to be 7'1", and again, this will accommodate horses. So if you're looking again for a versatile trailer to kind of use for about everywhere, this one here is a really good setup. If you want to go with more of a lower profile setup, we've got a similar trailer sitting here in that type of a setup there. Now, Cimarron's all aluminum construction. You're gonna have an 8-year structural warranty, 3-year hardware warranty, and a 1-year no questions asked warranty on your tires. But let's just start here at the front. This thing's got a lot of cool features, a lot of good options on it. The nose is that polished stainless sheeting. It just really dresses the front end of this trailer up. You're gonna have a couple marker lights on the top rail there. That became standard about a year ago. Then from there, you got your B&W coupler. Obviously, Gooseneck, this one's rated for 25,000 pounds. Cimarron actually came up with this design with B&W a few years ago. They've modified it a little bit over the years, but this is a really good one here because it's a lower profile handle. So it allows for that lower hole to be drilled into that actual coupler itself, and we can slide it within that stem and really make sure this trailer's running nice and level from that standpoint. Underneath the Gooseneck, you're gonna have the hydraulic jack. It's 28 foot on the floor, so a little bit bigger trailer, but it's got that larger front tack room. So if you are putting a lot of stuff in that tack and wanting to leave some equipment on the trailer, and maybe you have some for the barn, but you're just wanting to leave it instead of hand cranking one of these guys, it's nice to reach up and push the button. The switch is right over here on driver's side. So if you have somebody guiding you, back to hook up to it, it's real simple for you to just stay where you're at and then push a button and drop it right on to the ball with your foot on the brake so that truck doesn't rock. So if you have younger kids helping you, that's a nice feature there. And let's be honest, it's not fun hand cranking these guys. I'm over it. I like a hydraulic jack. This is the electric over hydraulic equalizer setup with the manual override. So I can manually override this guy if I want. In emergency situations, if I don't have any power, I can pump it on or off the truck itself. You are gonna get the aluminum battery box. It's housing one 12-volt battery. If you wanted to add another one in there, you could. You've got a battery disconnect. This is an important piece because if you accidentally leave a tack light on or something, when you leave the trailer, it'll drain the battery. But if you just get in the habit of when you park this and walk away from it, the last thing you do is just reach up here and turn this guy to the off position, and it'll kill all power to the trailer, so we don't have that happen. RedArc charger, that's standard. That kind of happened about a year ago on these. If they have this type of a setup, that RedArc charger will actually tell us if we have power coming from the tow vehicle, which came in handy at a show this last weekend. I was helping a customer. Fuse was blown on their truck, and it was real easy to find out because as soon as we plugged it in to their truck, I didn't have power. I backed mine right up to it, plugged it in, had power immediately. So I knew to go, start looking at the fuses on the truck itself. But that guy there's a true 3-staging charger. Your truck works as a trickle charger to these types of setups, but it's very slow charging. To where this guy here, it really amplifies it. I know even the RedArc guys like the term I use. It's a supercharger for your battery. And when we keep these batteries charged up at a optimal level, it really gives a lot of life and longevity to these batteries. So it's going to make these batteries last a lot longer. Spare tire located to the left of that as we're looking at it. It's going to match what's on the ground, so it's not like you get aluminum wheels on the ground and a steel. This gooseneck drop wall, I want to talk about this because this is a 53-inch gooseneck drop wall. That might not sound, might not make a lot of sense to anybody else, but the standard's 50. So what's so special about the 3 extra inches on this? Well, in today's modern world with these trucks and their beds being extremely tall from ground up, this allows us to adjust that B&W coupler that I showed you, and making sure we have plenty of bed clearance, making sure this trailer is running level with that bed clearance, because we don't want to tear up a bed, you know, on a pickup. So this guy here's the VP style. There's a couple different style, you know, nose profiles. This is the VP style, but that 53 is really going to allow you to, again, make sure this trailer is running level and have adequate bed clearance. I'll show you the actual skin color, which is that charcoal metallic here when we shut up this front tack. But let's go ahead and take a look at that, because I got this ramped down. This is a 6-foot front tack room. Like I said, 28 on the floor, 6 foot of it we're going to dedicate to the tack room. Why 6 foot? Well, 5 foot's the minimum that we need for a side ramp and proper bracing on each side of it. But over the years, we've learned a lot of customer feedback. Yes, it's 1 extra foot length, a 6 versus a 5, but when you go to stack upright boxes and blower carts and fan carts and portable generators and in this guy, it's a giant game of Tetris, and it works so much better that with having that extra foot. So we like to build these with a 6-foot front tack room on here. But then you have your ramp, so it's a heck of a lot easier wheeling in those upright boxes. You know, again, blower carts, fan carts, portable generators, whatever you want. Since it's a little bit taller too, you know, we don't have to worry about head clearance near as much on those low profile trailers. If you're taller, you will appreciate not hitting your head every time going in and out of these trailers. Then on the floor, you got rubber mats on this guy. So, you know, a lot easier to clean up. I do not like carpet on the floor just because of it will hold that odor and those stains over time. Up here on the deck, in the drop wall, we have that carpet. It's just going to kind of protect items there when we shove it up against that actual deck itself. And then up in the nose, ton of storage. A Cimarron nose is 8'2" long, so a lot longer than a lot of the standard trailers out there. You know, 7'6", 7'8" are a real common one. But in this instance here, 8 foot, 2 deep, 8 foot wide box. So you want to talk about an absolute ton of storage. You have it in this trailer. Over to the right is going to be a tray for our plexiglass. So I'll show you how to get the plexiglass out here in a minute, but that is a place for it to actually store. It's out of the way, it's protected. That is a really important piece there. We have the man door that comes in. This one here is on driver's side. We like this setup for the reasoning of, if you are traveling and you need to pull over to the side of the road and hop in here, it's a lot easier to sneak in this door than drop that ramp when you're dealing with traffic over here on street side versus curb side. So that's why we like to put the ramps on curb side of the trailer itself. A set of these big utility hooks with carpet behind it. We could go in and add more if you'd like, but these guys are fantastic because, you know, if you need to set a halter, you know, lead rope, head stall, anything like that. But more importantly, if you're using this for show and you've got big cords, big hoses, they take up a lot. So these aren't their standard bridle hooks, these are their utility hooks. So a lot deeper off the wall and a lot more spacing between them. Good height on it, but boy, if you want to hang something with a, you know, you always think in looking trailers, you know, we're carrying 100 foot, you know, cord, extension cords, big long hoses, everything's falling off. These guys here are fantastic. And again, they're aluminum powder coated, so they're really stout. Then you're gonna have a couple LED lights, one above each door. So you have good coverage in here. And the other thing too is we actually put a switch on each door. So that way, no matter which side of the trailer you come in, you can actually come right over here and turn these lights on or off. That was just customer feedback by saying, hey, you know, if I've got stuff stacked in here, you know, light switch is usually on the man door side, so it's kind of hard to get to sometimes when we have everything stacked in. So we just went ahead and said, let's go ahead and put a secondary switch on the doors themselves. So really, you know, easy to use and operate there. So I mentioned that this guy here is charcoal metallic. So it's kind of that, I think in my opinion, when you get it directly in the sun, you get more of that charcoal look to it. You see those metallic flakes. When you get it more in a shadow, it darkens up, kind of looks a little bit more of a black. I really like it because I think it hides a little bit more of that just dust and dirt from the standpoint of, hey, maybe it rains and it kicks up, you know, the wind kicks up and blows some dirt around. I think it hides some of that a little bit better than the black sheeted trailers, but it is a very popular option in today's world, one of our more popular colors. Then directly behind that, a couple feet behind that front tack room, is going to be a side ramp going into the stall area. So you have your ramp going into your stall area. So if you're loading, unloading, wanting to work off the side of the trailer, you can. Again, it's so handy to have those side ramps. You know, whether, I mean, you might even take some small animals in this guy. You know, if you take the gamut to county fair, you got horses showing, cattle showing, they got pigs, lambs, goats, whatever it is. Having the side ramp is definitely nice for those smaller animals. But as we come in, we got rubber on the floor in here as well. Behind me are a couple tie rails. So we have a lower and upper tie rail for you over here on driver's side. You probably noticed, maybe you caught it in the videos we come in here, but this here has two traveling gates on this setup. So you have a ton of flexibility. So again, if you have a lot of different species, a lot of different projects you're trying to work on, again, maybe you're using it on farm and ranch, you got some cow-calf pairs, you need to separate calves from cows, you know, when you're hauling them, but you don't want to waste a massive space. These traveling gates give you so much flexibility because exactly how we have it set up right now, this first gate I shoved against the partition wall. So we have two compartments. I can roll it back and I can make three compartments. I can roll that one forward and make one big compartment. But again, I can set these gates, I'll show you here in a second, in so many different places, giving you so much flexibility. Both of them are gonna be a 48-inch no threshold swing. They swing both ways. I'll show you on the other one as well. But on this side here, I want you to pay attention, the lower corners, they're squared off. And the reasoning why is this one here will travel ahead of the wheel wells and forward. And then the other one is notched for the fenders, so it can travel the full length. But in the instances where you have something in these front compartments and you kind of want a little bit more squared off, it works really well for that. So nobody gets the head underneath there to where your notch, obviously in the wheel well area, as you can see, it's closed off, but when we get into the open areas, you do have a little bit of an opening there. Again, these 48-inch swings, they go both directions. The no threshold, so nothing has to step over anything. We flipped the hinges versus our conventional stock trailers where everything's hinged over here and all the gates kind of swing over here. We kind of had to rethink our thought process because everything was loading and unloading from the back, to where this, we're doing so much loading and unloading from the side of the trailer. It just made the flow so much better when you're leading a calf on or off this trailer by having this hinged on this side versus over here on right hand side. So that's why we did that. But on these gates here, again, really simple to use. We've got these pins that come from the side. You can unbolt them, they got locks. But what I can do is I can push this guy forward, I can pull it backwards. As long as I'm in the middle, it flows so well. And again, wherever these uprights are, I can lock these gates in. Now, you have your standard posts where they'll lock in, but as you get to a larger tube where we're gonna have around like a door frame, around these wheel wells, you're gonna see this notch with this heavy UHMW plastic. That way it locks in and it's notched for that. So again, I can set these gates about anywhere I want, you know, wherever there's an upright post. So you have so much flexibility from like every foot you can set this guy. We run this track just a couple feet off the back. So again, I've got two more locations behind where it's at right now that I could actually slide this gate back, and then I can incorporate the second one as well. Again, you can just do so much with these traveling gates. We really like setting them up with two of them. Some shorter trailers will do one, but we run that track back to where if you want to add more, you can. If you wanted to add a third gate, fourth gate to this, it can be done because we have the rail and we ran it back, you know, again, just a couple feet off the back. Because what are you going to do, you know, anything smaller than that behind that area? So from there, wheel wells tapered up, so you have that. You can see these upright posts. This is a good one. On a lot of horse trailers, you don't get to see it, but on a livestock trailer, you do. You get to see these upright tubes. So these ribs right here are so stout. A lot of the competition uses this tube that's up on the actual ceiling itself for these roof bows. It's the same amount of aluminum in them, but this is more of a square. If I take a 20-foot stick of this, it's like a pencil, one fluid motion. If I take a 20-foot stick of that, it wobbles like a noodle. So they like putting them up there, give us a little arch and bow to the roof itself. To where these guys here, a lot more rigid. We got them for that strength. And then they changed their extrusion a few years ago. But if you look, one piece that's really nice about this extrusion and these ribs is it's flush to the post. A lot of other competitors will have their ribs, they'll have like a little bowl cut into their extrusion. Well, so much dirt and manure can get back there. And it's like, you know, when you go to wash it out, you're constantly hitting that and just more stuff is just coming out. It never stops, it seems like. So this one here, a lot more flush to where we're not gonna get those type of items getting actually behind those posts themselves. Speaking of the roof, we've got a couple roof vents in this guy. I think we ended up with 8 of them on this guy. 6, excuse me, 6. We started 2 at the front, right up against the partition wall, and then we moved some back. These are 2-way roof vents. So we can manipulate airflow quite a bit with these guys. We can open them, forcing air down, open them backwards, letting air release. You know, winter months, you want that hot air as it rises to get out of here, and not exactly forcing that really cold air when you're traveling those winter months down on them. You've got more LED lights in here. Switches for these guys are on the back post, I'll show you, but you have these big OptiBright lights. Put out a ton of light, not a big power draw. They are fantastic. They are now standard on these trailers moving forward. The roof itself, you probably noticed in the video here, that is not aluminum. That is the insulated roof that's standard on every single Cimarron. So it is a 1/2 inch thick. It's a honeycomb design, so it's reinforced, so it's extremely strong. It'll take 150 pounds per square foot. I can walk on the roof and I don't have to find these roof bows necessarily to step on it. So it'll take substantial hail. The other thing is it keeps this stall area 20% cooler. So if you see us at shows, we're usually parked out on asphalt, it's really hot, you come to the lot. I love taking customers to horse trailers and making them go from one manufacturer to the next, because usually horse trailers are a lot more sealed up than these stock trailers. But we'll take them to one manufacturer with aluminum roof, take them to a Cimarron. You can physically tell a difference, 20% cooler than aluminum sheeted roof. So fantastic roof material. It's on every single Cimarron itself. It's got a gel coating on top. Again, just R3 thermal value, fantastic standard feature on these trailers. On the floor, when we flip to the other side of it, you have the industry's best floor. It's an interlocking 12-inch extruded deck piece. The important piece is the centers are every 4 inches. So if you put a calf in here, you put a horse in here, wherever they're standing on a minimum of 1 support beam, if not 2, based on the size of their hoof. So extremely strong flooring there. You know, if you start looking at it and you go from foundation up, you know, best flooring on the market, strongest upright post, insulated roof, they're hard to beat. The Cimarron when we get these trailers finished and they're completely constructed. So I mentioned the plexiglass. So as you can see, this guy has 3 air gaps. So we have 2 upper, 1 lower. So again, if we have those small animals, we can get that airflow down to them. For, you know, show cattle, their chest floor is their radiator, so getting airflow down there is really key. But you saw the plexiglass tray. I'll show you a little trick. Got a pocket knife, there's a notch. So this track is on all these Cimarron stock trailers, but in order to get these guys out, they're a little tricky. I like just taking my pocket knife, and once I have the first one starting to go, it's really easy to just slide these guys out, and then obviously putting them back in, same thing, it's really easy. But once you get the first one out, it's real simple. Now, here is a little just tip, piece of advice for you. If you're going to remove this plexiglass, keep you a roll of masking tape, painter's tape, something that's not going to leave that real sticky, you know, adhesive on the actual plexiglass. Marker, Sharpie, something along those lines. Take out your passenger lower, tape them together and write it. Take out your passenger middle, take out your passenger upper, write them on there. keep them in those sections, because when you go to put them back, the easiest way I can explain this to you is there's a puzzle and you don't know what the picture is, and then you have to put it back. So we have different lengths of plexiglass based on, you know, we have a side ramp over there, we have an escape door, I'll show you. So there's different lengths, so it gets a little bit tricky knowing where all these pieces go. It'll save you so much time and hassle if you just take that little step and know where those pieces go before you put them in that storage tray. We've got a load light between the ramps, between that tack and the ramp there, so you have a load light that shoots down and out. We've got button lights on the top rail, so a cleaner look to the trailer itself. On this guy here, we have two 8,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles with electric brakes. So obviously your tow vehicle needed an integrated brake controller. If you need help with an aftermarket, we can help you there. But this guy here has got the 17.5-inch. These are a mod style, you know, wheel itself. So it's a good looking aluminum wheel, and then an 18-ply Cooper tire. So really, really stout running gear underneath this, and really good tires as well. At the back here, we've got a gate with the slider, so kind of your more traditional standard setup there. But I do want you to notice, because this box is 8 foot wide, it allows us to put a 36-inch opening on this rear gate. Okay, that might not sound like anything, but when you go backing up to alleyways, or you butt up against another trailer in a parking lot and have to hop something across, you got a big bread heifer, a bull, you know, something along those lines, we want this to be a little bit wider and a little bit more accommodating. If we don't do this, you end up with some hardware in the actual opening itself. So it allows us to just keep this area nice and clear. And again, on the 8 wide trailers, it allows us to do that. But you have your slider within your swing gate. I mentioned the actual switches for the interior lights. Here's the interior and exterior on this. So we saw the one above the tack. There's one here at the back, and then we're gonna have another one over here on driver's side, but they're all on individual switches right here. You've got a built-in backup light in your tail lights as well. That's what that white X is. 28 foot on the floor. So our backup lights on our truck are basically worthless back here, but it's nice to have it because you will get somewhere, even if it's home, you're familiar with home, but you get home and you need some light when you throw it in reverse. It's nice to kind of see what you got going on, and those guys will throw, as soon as you throw your truck into reverse, those guys will pop on. Versus their horse trailers, the livestock trailers, if we look from the side here at this rear rubber bumper, this is the larger rubber bumper, because again, we have that hardware we have to deal with. We're getting into situations where maybe we're, again, butting up against another, you know, trailer in a parking lot or something along those lines. I'd rather have a larger bumper to bump into rather than getting into my hardware and doing damage there. Exterior tie rails, so there's high and low over here on driver's side. If you want some on passenger side, they can be added. But look, if you're needing to tie somebody out, maybe using it as tie outs for the evening, you know, park this guy on the shaded side in the afternoon, you know, point it in that direction to where you have this shade over here, tie calves out, you've got that flexibility, and again, we can add tie rails to the other side if you'd like. There's that 16-inch awning light I was telling you about over here, so there's another light here, kind of more center of the trailer on this side, and then you have that access gate, escape door. Everybody kind of refers to them a little bit different, but you got this guy over if on driver's side. If for some reason you need to hop into that stall area, you can. All the tack door, this latch here, our side ramps all have the exact same key, so it's just one set of keys. You'll have a jack key as well, but it's nice that we don't have a different key for every single door. And then from there, over here on driver's side, we looked at it from the inside, but here's that man door that I was telling you about and showing you from the inside of that front tack. So again, we like these on driver's side, in the ramp over on passenger side, just so again, if the ease of getting in and out of this, especially if we're in traffic, it's nice to have this over here. It's also nice to have 2 points of entrance in there. Whenever I'm building a trailer for a customer with these front tack rooms, you know, if they're putting a ramp on it, I say, okay, now where's your door gonna be? Because I want a door on there. And the only reason why is for safety purposes, mainly is because if that ramp gets shut and somebody is on the inside, they cannot get out. So having a door here on the opposite side of it, or even on the partition wall, those can be done. Having that second point of access is definitely nice. Fold up step, just on a gas shock. This trailer is 8 foot wide, like I mentioned, so there's no running board down the side, so there's nothing to step on to get into this, into the front tack, and you can see where that lower frame is. That's a pretty healthy step. So this guy here kind of splits it in half, and again, it's on a gas shock, so it's really easy to flip up and down. So really good setup, 28 foot, 8 wide, again 6 foot front tack room, so we have that 22 foot stall area, 2 traveling gates, so you have all that flexibility there. I'm going to give you the stock number for reference on this guy. It is a 2025. Our sticker right here says 26. That is not correct. It is a 25 model Cimarron Lonestar, stock number 5N250163. We do take trade-ins, so if you're looking to upgrade or downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available for you as well, and delivery is an option, so we could potentially bring this to your doorstep. So if you're interested, give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.